Hello, everybody. It's Marna Thall here, and I am with Miss Karen, who is got the most amazing story. Karen has lost a lot of weight. She started losing weight, and then when we started working together, she started losing more weight. I've had the most fun. It's been the greatest pleasure and honor working with you for all these months. So, Karen, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Okay, so let's start by, first of all, how much weight have you lost? Tell everybody.
I have lost 80 pounds. Yay!
I mean, so good.
Do the happy dance.
I'm doing the happy dance for you.
Yeah, me too.
So why do you think this time? Because I always want to capture, it's like, what happened to make this time really be the click for you that was different? I'm assuming you tried losing weight in the past. So what made this time different for you?
I I've done Weight Watchers. We've done counting calories. I've done a diabetic diet. I've done everything. I mean, I even did Jenny Craig where they send you the food in a package before.
Mm-hmm.
You might lose. I don't think I lost anything on that one at all. But it was very painful and restrictive and just not fun. This was very, very easy. I really think that was the deal because from the very beginning, I think I listened to one of your podcasts about the 7-day thing that you did in December before the 30-day challenge. And it was all about making it easy, no pain. And it really was. It was really, really easy. For me, that was the easy part, is picking it and because it was not painful. So it was easy to stick to.
Okay. So that's been the shift, is that this was doable and it fit into
Life.
Into life. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's so good to know.
Like you say, you don't want people to count calories. You don't want people to kick food groups out and stuff like that. So it's great, man, to be able to say I'm losing weight, but I'm still eating what I like.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
I know, and you've been so amazing. So here's what you all have to know. Karen is one of those people. She's like, you tell her, okay, let's focus on this, and she like does it. And then if you don't know something, you always ask me. You'll be like, Marna, I'm trying to implement this. How do I do that? And so you've just really immersed yourself in this process this year. And let's talk about some of the obstacles, like some of the things that you've had like to work through. Let's talk mindset. Like, what has been a mindset shift that you feel like you've made over these last months?
A lot of it is the self-talk. Well, that's the big deal for me. From the very, very first conversation that we had, it was like more negative thinking and ugly thoughts. And now it's so much easier to be nice to me and to love me and to pump me up instead of, oh, I'm just going to go eat that because I don't deserve to any better. So it's really good. That's the best. That is the best mind shift that I've had.
You know what's so funny? Because you would tell me that. You'd say, Marna, you should see me before. Like, I was so negative. I'm like, what? I don't even, like, you were? I have rarely seen that ever. And we work very closely together, right? Like, we've worked so close together, and I'm like, rarely. You're like, oh, no. So you're so positive now. Is it just like making the decisions you find that like changing your inner dialogue from how you were raised or any of that negative to more positive? What's helped you do that? I mean, obviously we've coached and we've done, but like, what's helped you continue on that path?
Part of it is like I remember one conversation that we had. It was, um, I was riding my bike and I had made it like halfway through my ride, and I'd gotten to where I stop. I have a spot that I stop and sit for a little while. And I was doing a Marco Polo with you, and it was like, I can't do it. I just can't go on any further. And it was like at that point, and then I stopped and I realized, how beautiful it was outside. And the thoughts that because you were on at that moment, and we talked through that, and you said, you know, you are changing your thoughts immediately. And used to, I wouldn't do that. I would just go down the rabbit hole and stay there. So I am very blessed to have the opportunity to change my thinking and to be more positive and loving to myself.
Oh my God. I mean, it has been so fun to see and so fun to watch, because I also really don't know that part of you, because we would talk through things and you'd be like, oh, and then you just change your inner dialogue. It was just amazing. And then you're like, yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That part is really cool. And to help with that though, I mean, when I would make those changes and I would do something different, the support and the access and the help just impacted that and made it so much easier to change.
I'm so glad. Well, that makes me so happy to hear that it was just
Yeah.
helpful to have me sort of in your pocket where I could be like, okay, let's do this, or let's do this.
Right.
Tell me about, okay. So another thing you all have to know about Karen and I started working together before COVID started. And then COVID started like right at the beginning. Like you did the 30-day challenge.
Mhm.
Then we started working privately together. And you had been swimming a little bit, right? You'd been swimming. And then you were like, I can't go to the pool. It's COVID. And I think I recall, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I think I recall you saying, oh, you know what? But I've got this. We're like, so what should we do movement wise? You're like, I've got this bike in my garage. And I was like, all right, you want to take it out? And you're like, yeah, I'll just go take it out. Tell us from there. Is that how you recall it? And maybe it was a little different how you recall it. Tell me.
It was pretty close to that. Um, in the fall, um, my family and I would go swim at the lake, and then in
Okay.
the winter I would swim at the Y.
Right.
Well, then the Y closed because of
Right.
COVID, and we couldn't swim anymore.
Correct.
And it was after we were doing. I think it was after we did the love list, and the things on the love list. You wanted us to do that and pick something on the love list instead of eating or you know looking for food and stuff. Well, so I decided I wanted to go outside. Needless to say, it stuck.
All right. So let me give a reference point of like what the love list is. So during the 30-day challenge, one of the things I have people go do is create a love list. Like, what are the things that you want to do? You say that you want to lose weight. And if you're not eating, and like if we're not turning to food for emotional reasons, we're not, and in your life, what are the things that make you happy? What are the things you love? Okay. So you said, I love being outside, which now we're so clear about you need to be outside. But you said, I want to be outside. Okay, then what happened?
So I have a mountain bike. I used to ride mountain bike about 10 years ago, and we have beautiful parks around here. And it's very fun, but it's kind of dangerous. You fall off and you get hurt. So I decided one afternoon that I would go for a short ride and went around the block. And I probably went around the block 3 or 4 times and went and rode through the park and went up and down the little hills and stuff. It stuck. It was not an overnight thing, but it was. I went back and looked at the distances that I was measuring, and they were like a mile, 2 miles, a mile, but it was every other day, and then it got to be every day. And then it got to be 3 miles and 5 miles. And I think the first time I really went, I thought it was really far. Um, I think I went, the furthest was 13. And I called you and I said, "Oh, you can't believe what I just did. This is amazing." And I think at that point I was hooked. That got me hooked. Um, my sister had a road bike that she didn't like. And so I got her road bike. And it was so nice. It was so much fun, because it was so much lighter than the mountain bike.
Oh, uh-huh.
And I would, it felt like I was flying, you know. Years and years and years ago, I used to ride a motorcycle.
Mhm.
And you didn't have to wear a helmet back then because they didn't have all the laws and stuff. So when the air hits your hair and it just kind of flies, the wind hitting your
Mm.
body when you go fast on a bike is so cool.
So
It
I
is,
give you that feeling of,
yes, of speed. Yes.
I mean, and here's the thing that I think is the coolest. You didn't go out and be like, I'm going to go ride 5 miles. You didn't put that pressure on yourself at all
Mm-mm.
initially. You just said, we're like, let's just take the bike out and just go ride, see if you like it. And
Hmm.
then you're like, okay. And then you went a little bit and went a little bit. And all of a sudden you're like, I think I might like this writing thing. I'm kind of enjoying it. But you weren't like forcing yourself
No.
at all to like be a certain way and have that certain intensity. It was through pure joy. I was like, let's just make,
Yes.
like, I just want it to be fun.
Yeah.
But then fast forward, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm getting clip-in shoes. Oops, I fell. Oops, I fell. Oops, and like and you're like, I'm just getting back up. You're like, now I'm gonna get clothes because it's gonna be cold in the winter. And it just kind of evolved into this thing. Oh, I'm gonna go with a writing group. It evolved from just this interest and enjoyment to something that like your identity of being now a cyclist is like who you are. It's how you show up. Now it's 300 miles a month.
I tried. I haven't, I didn't in January, but COVID is fun right now.
Right.
So, but that is always a nice goal. And I will keep that as, who knows, when COVID goes away and we're able to do our stuff again, maybe even more, because
And
it's
it does,
easy.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You started tracking it. I was like, just go have fun. And you're like, look what I did.
Ah,
And I'm just, it's so inspiring to watch. It's been so fun to watch you not come to movement from force, but from
mhm.
total and utter joy and
Enjoyment.
accomplishment.
Yes.
Yeah. And now we know you need to be outside. Like that is it's your therapy. And when I would hear naturally thin people say, oh, I just love moving my body. It's like my therapy. It's my pleasure. It's my joy. And it's like you would have a day that was like rough at the hospital and you'd be like, oh, I mean, I want to ride. I'm excited to ride. Like it's been your
Hmm.
outlet and your love, right?
Yeah. It really is. I guess it's all the endorphins and stuff that release. Um, when the weather changed and it started getting cold, it was really difficult for me to decide to go ride in the cold.
Mhm.
In the summertime, it was a big goal to keep riding in the heat because we're hot here.
Mhm.
You guys are 80 and 90. It's 110 here sometimes. Who knows? But
Yeah.
it was a real, interesting thing to be able to find something that I was really good at and could do and succeed. And it was so much fun. I mean, it's just, it it was just fun. Um and that's part of this. It's fun. And when
Mhm.
it's work and it's hard work, that makes it not worth it. This has all been kind of fun.
I love that. I love it. Okay, but let's talk about a part that has been not as fun. Are your plateaus. Did you know I was going to talk about that? I was like, all right, let's talk about these plateaus. Okay, so the funniest thing is that Karen would have she'd lose all this weight, and then you'd plateau, and you'd be like, gosh darn it, what am I doing wrong? And then it was like, you're not doing anything wrong. What we started to see is that it's just your nature of your body. You go through, and it's very normal for most people's bodies. You go through a weight loss, and then you acclimate to that, and then through that. So here's what I think is amazing. The first plateau that you had, you could have been like, screw this, I don't want to do this, I'm going to give up on myself.
Done.
Like, right, like that would have been a really normal, natural way to just show up and be like, you know what, I'm not seeing results and this is pissing me off. What have you had to do through the plateaus to believe in yourself or keep moving forward?
I think part of it is realizing that it's not just losing the weight that has been so helpful, because even though I don't lose weight like everybody else. Most people can, they start eating and they do what they're supposed to, and they lose the weight. Even though I'm not losing substantial weight all the time, my mind is so much better. I feel so much kinder to myself and loving in ways that protect me instead of just being thin, because I'm going to be there. That's no question. I will be there. It's learning to love myself through the pauses.
Yes.
And still supporting myself and making sure that I'm still doing what I need to do, that I'm eat at the table. I don't watch TV while I'm eating, and I make sure that when I eat, I think about the things that make it enjoyable while I'm eating. Does that make sense?
Give me an example.
Like if, say, I had a bad day at work,
okay,
and I come home and I want to sit and veg in front of the TV with whatever I'm eating. If I make a conscious decision to not sit in the den and watch TV while I'm eating, I always eat less. The environment then stays as I've created it, being in a better place to eat. And then it doesn't, my mindset doesn't change and go down the rabbit hole.
I love it.
It's very, very good, even on bad days. So that's good.
And okay, so some people will be like, but eating it by yourself at the table is so boring. What would you say to that?
I went overboard with the table thing. I have flowers on my table at least 70% of the time.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I forget and they die and they get thrown away, But most of the time I have flowers on the table. At least 70 to 80% of the time I use real plates and not paper plates. Because when food used to be something that was, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It was something that I would just consume to be consuming,
yes.
Not to make me feel energized and able to keep moving.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, and to do that, I created the dining table and I sit at the table. And I enjoy that. I really do. I really enjoy that now.
Love it.
For so many reasons. It's so great. It's just awesome because I don't have stuff sitting around the table in the chair in the den. There's not food sitting in there or anything like that. So it's really good. It's been very helpful.
I love that. This is what I'm saying when I say to Karen, like, okay, well, let's make your kitchen beautiful. And then she's like, cleans it up and she gets it all ready. And she's like, I've got flowers. And like, she just follows through. I'm like, and then you do it. It's amazing. Now, as a busy nurse, let's talk about how you've incorporated this has it been hard to incorporate into work and that life? Like, tell me, I think it would be
No,
helpful just for people who are,
no, it as you know, some nurses say, you can only eat when they tell you can eat.
okay.
You know, you can only go take your break when they give you time. Sometimes, most of the time, well, in the hospitals I've worked at, most of the time, you pretty much can say, I'm not really hungry yet. You want to trade with me? And somebody else will take their break at that time.
Gotcha.
If that's the problem. If you're having a problem with, I'm not real hungry yet. I need to wait. Or hey, I'm starving. Can I go eat now?
Mhm.
That usually works. Um, the big deal at most hospitals is grazing and stuff because especially with COVID when that started, they would bring food from everywhere to us and would say, "Here, just come in, everybody come in and eat." Well, I was doing really good when that started, and so I would just say, "No, thank you. I'll come and sit with you guys," and they would eat and whatever and sit and talk. So, you know, that was a big deal for me is to learn to say no, thank you, and to
And
be okay in here.
uh-huh.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. But when you're seeing the food and you're like, I love that. I would love to eat it. Like, how did you navigate your inner dialogue when that food was there and people are bringing you tons of food, or this team and the staff,
Hmm.
lots of food? How What did you say to yourself? Like, is there a dialogue that you use that helps?
A lot of times, with the COVID stuff, it was relatively easy because you know um, everybody was kind of chicken to eat out for a while,
Hmm.
because you didn't know who was fixing it and did they have COVID and were you going to
Hmm.
get it from
Hmm.
eating out?
Hmm.
Um, so, but a lot of time, what I would say to myself was, I'm not hungry
Hmm.
and I'm just not going to eat right now. If there's something left later when I get hungry, good, I'll come back. Um, but usually, if I took my own lunch and because I always do that, I don't eat in the cafeteria or anything like that. Um, and that's really good for me is to make sure that I have food prepared or something easy
Yeah, you've
to
never
take.
wanted You were always like, I don't like that food.
No, it's pretty gross.
So that was pretty easy for you to make. It wasn't like this big switch or anything. You never really liked it. Mhm.
No,
Mhm.
no. So, but it's as far as having the food around and just brought in to say, here, let's eat.
Yeah.
I think once I got into the program and got the mindset down, I think it was pretty easy just to say, no, thank you.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. And what about then how this is impacted like emotional eating? Because how then are you dealing with your emotions or things that come up without tying food to it? Like what any tips, tools, thoughts there? Because I know that's such a big issue.
It is emotional eating. And back when we started this, I would have told you I'm not an emotional eater.
Oh. Mhm,
I
mhm.
really would have. I would have said, "You're wrong. You are wrong. It is not me." Um,
Okay.
but it really is true. Um, and to be able to not have to go eat when I'm feeling emotional,
Mhm.
and to realize, hey, you're just feeling kind of lonely right now, or you're really bored, or you're angry, something like that is a lot better than going and just eating.
And so if you recognize I'm bored, I'm lonely, I'm sad, I'm whatever,
Hmm.
then what's that next part for you? Like, does food is food and you're like, if you find yourself, oh, I'm this kind of thinking about food, then what do you do once you identify the emotion
Hmm.
that you might be experiencing?
A lot of time, um, if I stop long enough to, well, when I stop and figure out, hey, you're really not hungry right now. and think about, you know, what is driving me to go stand in front of the refrigerator again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm usually bored.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and if if I'm bored, there's always something fun that I can do. You know, there always, it may not always be fun, but there's something you can
To
do
do.
instead.
Yeah. And let's just talk about the house for a second about that. Because here was the thing. You have really done this amazing job mentally and emotionally, like cleaning out, losing 80 pounds, like doing this work. And then what started to happen is you were like, I want to clean my external space in my home to make that also really beautiful.
Mhm.
And that took a whole different level of commitment and looking at and getting rid of stuff and letting stuff go, donating things, right? Like your home space has also dramatically changed, correct?
Right. I purged. I purged a lot. Um, I when I started, after I'd lost a lot,
Yeah.
I started to, when I started getting thinner clothes. Okay, I don't ever want to have to go back to wearing those pants again. Never. Um, so I put them all in black bags, and so I had like 5 or 6 bags of clothes because I've gone through different sizes of uniforms, and they're nice uniforms. They're nice clothes. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with these clothes.
Yeah.
Um, so all of those clothes got to go to Goodwill.
Yay.
So
So somebody else
yes,
gets to really enjoy that.
yes, yes. And I am, that part made me feel really cool to
Yeah.
be able to go and not put them back in my closet and keep them. And sometimes I still have stuff that I haven't gotten rid of yet, but I will. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a process.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so I like the process of actually, once it's gone, it feels so good.
Right. It's like there's sometimes this relationship between like consuming or holding on. And I like to think of it as like weight or holding on to things. There's this holding on, and it's like this letting go, like trusting your body more, letting it go, feeling more
Mhm.
confident here, and then letting items go too is also this other level of release. And it's like your house has done a 360 too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like your mind, your house, I mean, everything, movement. It's just
yeah.
been amazing to watch and see. It's been so fun. What tips, like somebody starting out who's like, oh, so let's talk about it from this point. You signed up for the 30-day challenge. You had no friggin' clue if it was going to work or not. What did your mind, were there objections that your mind had or worries that your mind had? How did you navigate some of those thoughts and feelings to say, you know what, I'm just going to do this anyway. I'm just going to
Mhm.
move towards this. Yes, I've tried a lot of diets before.
The part of it in the beginning, in the 30-day challenge, and
Mhm.
I haven't done it again, so I
Yeah.
don't know if you do it every time or if it's different each time. But the positive reinforcement thing really made that feel so easy. I
Okay.
mean, because we identified the steps of what is hunger, you know, can you stop when you're satisfied, and learning the different steps to go through. Um, and then to praise yourself for, I did it, I
Mhm.
did it, and to be successful. I think I think that was a big deal for me, to be successful and to see it, to have the visual aid there, and to hear everybody
Yes.
else in the group saying, "Oh, I did it," and you're not going to fail, you're not going to quit.
No.
You know, that was a big deal for me because, like most of us, we've all failed on diets.
Yeah.
We've done that. And So I think that was a big deal. That was a really big deal for me.
But even to just sign up and think, oh my goodness, here I go.
Here I go again.
Should I do it? Should I not? What gave you the courage to say, okay, I'm going to try this again?
Um, I
I know.
guess it was just the um, um, well, first off, because it was on the internet at first,
Okay.
and it was very anonymous,
Yep. So it felt
you know,
safe.
so it felt really safe, and
Yeah.
there wasn't.
Okay.
I really didn't have any expectations to start with, and then when it started working, it was like, boom, this is good. And then um, I think I had you on the 30-day challenge too,
Yeah.
and it was like, positive reinforcement just all over the place, and I kept thinking, Dad gum, is she ever not going to be positive?
She never going to show us a bad
Her
side.
real self? Come on, show me the real Marna.
I show you guys. I tell you guys my real stuff.
Yeah. So I think, and I really believe that was the deal. That was the deal. Is that it was for real, and and I could see other people doing it and making it.
Okay. Because sometimes I'm just curious, like how you move into decision making. Like, okay, I want to do this, or I don't want to do this, or this
Hmm.
feels scary, or this feels safe. And sometimes we have all these thoughts.
Hmm.
If you have tips for people that are like starting out, or that are worried, or that may not believe like a non-diet approach or an intuitive eating or whatever you want to call this approach of changing your mind, changing your body, eating naturally thin,
Hmm.
um, might work. Like, what would you say that's just been foundational in helping you get started, or tips for somebody to get started that would be
You,
helpful?
you always talk about um, when you watched people that were naturally thin eat, okay, and talk about their food and stuff. Um, I never really paid attention to people that were naturally thin. I would
Mhm.
always say, yeah, I would like to be thin, but I always thought in my head that it was a struggle. And I would, when you do the diets and it starts to get hard and you quit. Well, that's the deal. This doesn't get hard.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, you have to deal with your emotional stuff as it comes up, and if you if you can deal with the emotional stuff, then after you do that, there's always that feeling of success, that feeling it's just a bless. You're just blessed and so grateful to have it and that it works.
But why do you feel like you've been so open? It's not like you've like haven't had some life before you. It's not like how have you been so open to just be like, I'm open to this. I'm open to trying this. I'm open to exploring this.
Part of it, I think part of it was that the the things that you talk about and that you support and the way that you do that, because you have to be able to talk through things usually, or communicate some way or another, or it's just not going to be worth it. um, I do believe that if um, if the issues that are holding you back in your life you can talk through them, then it goes, it works, but you have to be able, I guess you have to have um, enough, I guess, enough faith in the process to try it and trust that it's going to work.
Mhm.
um, and it
And
does.
And
It
it just
really
seemed
does.
like it resonated with you. Like there was this work that you really wanted to move through old patterns, old conditioning, old thoughts. And then you were just so
Right.
open to saying, okay. And even if it was hard, it was like, how do I? Like
Yes.
you're definitely been so solution oriented. How do I? What could I do here? So when Karen's talking about us working together, so after she did the 30-day challenge, she decided to become a private client of mine. And in being a private client, she has access to me versus Marco Polo, which she had during the 30-day challenge as a VIP client. And what we do, we go back and forth. It's like, think of texting for all of you who don't know what Marco Polo is. It's like, only it's video. It's kind of like this, only I'm on my phone and she's on hers, and she tells me when she has something going on and then I respond. And yes, and also we have private coaching sessions. So one of the things that's been helpful is what I'm hearing is just having that, you could kind of just
Hmm.
share yourself, and then
Hmm.
I could respond by, hey, why don't you think of it this way? Or what if we could look at it this way between our coaching sessions?
Right.
And so having that accountability in that space to just be able to really talk through. And you were so, I remember the first Marco Polo, you were like, what is this? I do not know if I can do this video thing. And then you got so comfy with it. You're like, I don't care. Like, it's just like, do you even think about it now? It's like, so like our thing. So it's funny because sometimes you had to face that too, of like, oh, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I really like this whole
Hmm.
Marco Polo thing, but you've clearly,
Hmm.
you've gotten comfy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
So
know. Just totally the comfort and the ease that you make everything work. And when like when I come up to obstacles um that are difficult, there are things that happen in your life and you don't see it coming and it'll hit you like a brick wall, and you can either, okay, I want a pizza and eat the whole pizza, or you can sit down and have dinner or whatever. um there's, I know there's options, and to have the options to pick from and to choose it, and to know that I'm not making a bad choice. um to see the the results. You know,
yeah.
I never in my right mind ever thought I'd lose 80 pounds. I never thought I would lose that much. I mean, and some days it's a struggle. It is a struggle to go, I lost 80 pounds.
You lost 80 pounds during one of the most stressful times, doing pick lines for people, watching people die, watching people. I mean, you
Hmm.
like, not just did you lose weight like during normal time, but you lost it during a really intense, you were on the,
Hmm.
you've been on the front lines doing this work, and watching people and masking up, getting all like uncomfortable. Like it's just
Hmm.
been a lot. And you continue through this whole thing to be committed to your inner dialogue, how you're talking about yourself, how you're feeling, and how
Hmm.
you're managing your mind.
Right.
And movement has been an amazing outlet for you in being outside and then biking, um, and then having all this inner work that you just get to keep practicing and practicing, and you're so now so good at it. Which then, do you ever get worried like, oh my gosh, I'm going to gain this weight back? Like, do you have thoughts like that? Are there worries like that? Because
Oh yeah.
come
I,
up.
I yeah. I mean, I haven't consistently lost anything since November, December, and yeah, I'm scared.
Yeah, you get
But
scared.
yeah, but I am not. I refuse. I will not. So, um, it is a true fear. Um, and here again, if when those thoughts come in and I say, oh well, I just might as well get ready. I'm gonna have to, be fat again, or it's here.
Yes.
And those thoughts, they're just thoughts, and you just kind of have to let them go.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Okay, let's talk about this because this is so interesting to me. So you had these thoughts before, and sometimes we think, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose 80 pounds. For those of you who want to lose 80 pounds, you're like, oh my gosh, those thoughts are going to go away. Do they ever go away? Does that inner dialogue ever go
No,
away?
it changes, but it doesn't usually go away.
That's right. That's right. It changes, but it's still there. The key is you've had so much practice navigating it and dealing with it that you have so much strength and so many tools that what I notice with you is if let's say you do cycle down and you have a bad day or something, you know how to cycle back up because you have all these tools that helps support you in your thinking and your emotions and your eating and in your movement. They all work together and in your social circle where you have a whole social, you have me, you have a whole group of women who adore you that can all help to support you to continue losing weight, even if there's some months where it's just like flatline and you're like, okay, it's a little, is it going to keep coming off? And what we keep saying is that it does. And if you would have stopped at any one of those plateaus, you wouldn't have had the joy of going, oh my God, I'm 80 pounds down now.
Yeah. And to have the joy and it's not just joy, it's not just gratitude, it's not, it encompasses it all. It is just,
Yeah. Going to the doctor and going and them saying like, right? Like, oh my God, your numbers are so awesome. You can get off certain medications. You can, right? It's impacted so many things.
Yes.
Right.
That was the best. Well, because that was like empirical evidence,
Yes.
the weight came down, the numbers on my lab came down, and it was just perfect.
I know. It's like you're seeing
So,
it not just, yes, you see the weight loss, you see the number. Yes, you feel a different way. And you also get to see, wow, inside of my body, things are also really changing from my lab work, my blood work to my, diabetes status, like that's all changing.
yeah. Yeah.
So awesome. So
That was great.
Any last word?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Never quit. Because we all get frustrated. We all get, tired. But after you sleep good and you wake up the next day, you can start over. Every day is a new start. So it works. That works. And to not beat yourself up over it.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having the courage to say hello to my audience, to say hello to my life, and just to really inspire other women. Sometimes I'll hear, Marna, I see people who've lost 30 pounds. What about, I have like 80 pounds to lose, or I have 120 pounds to lose, and I love this. Don't give up.
Yeah.
But it's the coolest thing when you don't feel like you're on something. You're just working with your mind, making some changes based on your body, loving yourself through the process, finding joys in your life. And you found biking and cycling, which is just been such a joy to watch and a privilege. It's changed your house and in your environment. It's changed your blood work. All of that wouldn't have been possible if you would have said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not willing. I'm not open. I'm not going to face this. And so I just want to say it's been one of the most fun and enjoyable gifts to me. And I'm so grateful and thankful that you said, hey, Marna, I want you to coach me. Thank you. It's a gift for me. I have loved every second of it. Love it. And you can see, like, Karen and I are pretty tight. That's what happens when we do coaching like this. And we mark a book all the time. We get to be pretty tight. And I get to know the ins and outs of her life. And she knows my life. And you build this kinship that's so awesome. And so I'm just so incredibly grateful. And thank you sharing your story. It means so much to me, and it means so much to be able to inspire other women who feel like it's not possible or feel like, oh my gosh, they have too much weight to lose.
Oh,
It's
Lordy.
overwhelming. You just go little by little by little, right? All right.
Right.
Well, thank you everybody for watching. I hope that this inspires you to take amazing action in your mind, in your body, in your heart. You can do this. Don't give up, like Karen said. All right, everybody, have yourself an amazing, beautiful day. Bye.